Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you are well and really excited about this amazing hackathon we have. This is the TADHackZA 2021, and we've been really having an amazing time, with our judges, with our mentors, basically, and participants, our sponsors. Kicked off activities yesterday, and it was wonderful. And this morning we had our State of the Hackathon address, where we looked at some of the key and high-level activities that have been taking place throughout. We heard also from our mentors, who gave some insights and advice on how you can get that solution finalized and how you can work effectively together as a team. I am very excited that right now, as we've heard from judges, we also yesterday heard from participants. Today we get to also hear from our esteemed judges, who will also help us to understand some of the key considerations that you need to take, to take note of as you are developing your solution. Some of the key aspects of the judging criteria that we'll delve into, so that you know that you're very much aligned to the objectives of this particular hackathon. This is the TADHackZA Hackathon 2021, and remember that our hashtag is TADHackZA. And we want to ensure that more people get to know about what we're doing this weekend. We are doing the Boza things this weekend with amazing teams of innovators, and I'm excited that we've got over around 60 teams that are working to innovate, working with amazing tools that have been provided by our esteemed, sponsors and partners of this amazing initiative. So remember, hashtag TADHackZA is our hashtag for the occasion. Continue to post on social media using our hashtag. And remember, we've got amazing prizes up for grabs, which you can win throughout. And also, there is that amazing grand prize that we have also for you and your team. Continue doing the right things. Listen in. Check out the Slack channels for announcements. Engage with mentors and reach out to them, because they are available to assist you throughout this hackathon. And we are now basically going to be hearing from one of our judges, and I see that our judges are already here, and I can see that Scott Gibson is already here with us. Scott, how are you doing?
How's it? I'm good. How's your Saturday going?
It's going so well. I'm so excited to actually be part of this amazing initiative, and also for taking time. Here, as you know, in South Africa, we're celebrating Heritage Day. A lot of people are away on holiday, but you are here with us, sharing time and imparting your skills and know-how with young people. That's exciting.
Yeah, no, I love these. I love these kind of events. Been through a couple in my career, and it's always exciting to see the youth of today, because I no longer classify myself as someone who's part of that group, getting excited about this kind of stuff and trying to make a difference through technology and through digital, which is something that I've been in for nearly 20 years now. So it just really excites me to see this kind of stuff happening.
Awesome. So thank you very much. And I still see the youthfulness in you. I know, you may not think so, but yeah, it's still there. Gray hair, a sign of wisdom. Oh, fantastic. So we want to just look into giving some advice to the young developers that are working very hard around the clock to get those solutions sorted. So in terms of the business idea and how to articulate that business idea, what would be your advice to our developer community?
I think I sort of have 2 or 3 criteria that I consider or look at when I'm evaluating solutions that get brought to me, both internally. Sorry, there's some feedback happening. Are you getting that feedback? No. Okay, good. Sorry, there was just feedback in my ear. So the criteria that I look at, I guess, when I'm evaluating other projects that get brought to us or me at Contactable as Chief Commercial Officer of Contactable, but I'm also an angel investor in a couple of private initiatives. And the first thing is that I always get nervous of something that isn't MVP ready, right? Minimal viable product ready. Often people will come and bring us ideas that are just wireframed, and we don't actually see it operating or working. So some of the interactions with some of the technologies that say the sponsors have provided in this case. We need to see those kind of functions working and happening, and the links actually working, and the APIs actually working. So that's, I guess, my first level of advice. Just make sure you've got something that looks like it's MVP ready, minimal viable product ready, and also don't try and over-engineer a solution. I think a lot of technology these days is built on the fact that you need to iterate afterwards. So let's get something in the market, test it, fail fast, if that's the case, unfortunately, and then iterate above that. So that's sort of the first criteria that I would look at. I'll always ask everybody how they plan to either monetize the solution that they've built, if it is a monetizable solution, or how it can transform a business process. If it's more B2B than B2C, then to what extent can it transform business processes inside an organization that they are looking to do? Can it help improve regulatory compliance? Can it reduce the level of involvement of staff? Can it speed up customer experiences, etc.? So for me, that's a second criteria. And then a third criteria is, I think everybody here, we'd like to see how you have figured out how to use the tech. I guess it does sort of lead back to my MVP comment. Show us how you've used the tech that has been provided to all of the participants by the various sponsors, etc. Because I think it's important that you show that you haven't tried to recreate the wheel. You've figured out how to use existing technologies, bring them all together in a collaborative fashion, and turn it into something that, to my other point, can either monetize or transform an organization.
I think you've highlighted really important points, the MVPs, that it has to be there. And I think platforms like this are absolutely important because, we've been saying throughout the day that actually people do build businesses out of hackathons, wherein they may focus on getting one element of the functionality sorted out in one hackathon, and then the next hackathon they can increment the development and so forth. And I thank you very much for just outlining that, and really also outlining the importance of using the tools that have been provided, because there are awesome tools that are available, and we want to see how you integrate and maximize the use of those tools throughout this. And I want to thank you for your time, and also maybe give you just one last comment that maybe you can leave our participants with just some words of wisdom before you leave.
I think you guys are very fortunate that this platform has been provided to you by the likes of MTN and Ayoba and all the other sponsors. And I think, there's not many people in the world that have the ability and the opportunity, and especially in South Africa where, we have a digital skills gap. I recently wrote a blog to say that I felt that digital inclusion would lead to economic inclusion in South Africa. And somebody highlighted to me that that's a great idea, but one of the first steps we need that requires us to kind of lead towards digital inclusion is digital skills. And we have a massive digital skills gap in South Africa. So it's so exciting for me to see so many people here that clearly have digital skills. Now it's your turn to shine. Show us how your digital skills can transform and really accept and you have this massive privilege of these platforms provided by MTN and TADHack and the other sponsors. Go forth and multiply.
Wow, thank you very much, and a great afternoon to you, and we're looking forward to engaging with you throughout the weekend. Thank you so much.
Cool, thanks.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, that was our judge, one of our judges, Scott, who has actually given us some high-level insights in terms of what we need to take into consideration throughout the weekend. He highlighted the importance of getting that minimum viable product and a functional one, not only wireframes. So please take note of that advice, and also highlighting the importance of digital skills and the wonderful work that our sponsors and basically MTN and Ayoba and all the sponsors have actually done or are doing for the ecosystem. I would now be welcoming an amazing gentleman as well, actually coming from Ayoba, our headline sponsor. Arrow is joining us live right now to also give us basically the judge's perspective on these issues. Arrow, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Good afternoon. I'm good, and you?
Awesome, awesome. If we can just have your video on, I think our lovely participants would love to see who is this headline sponsor of ours.
Yeah, I'm live. The lightning is a bit dodgy here. Don't know if you can see me.
Yes, no, we can see you. Fantastic, fantastic. How are you doing this afternoon? How are things?
Very good, thank you. Thank
Fa
you.
Fantastic.
Was
So, I mean, the
was a
theme.
long evening.
It was indeed. It was. I can imagine. We have young developers who've just been on some energy drinks and coffee throughout, just trying to get the solutions sorted. And would like to just hear your thoughts in terms of the business idea. What are you looking for as a judge? Perhaps this will actually help to help them contextualize basically what they need to take into consideration.
I think apart from some of the technical issues that Scott mentioned, and of course the utilization of the various resources that are available for the developers, that's very key, I think. But personally, when I look at whether it's judging hackathons or whether it's looking at investment opportunities and pitches in general, my key thing, there's two key things. One is, what is the problem that people are trying to solve? Because that gives an understanding of is this product or idea required? And if it's required, it also gives an idea of how big the solution can actually be. And from an investment perspective, that's very key. So you can have a very nice solution, but if the problem is not big enough, you're never going to be able to scale or make return on an investment. So I always drill into that, because it also gives a very good understanding of the team, which is the second part I look at. Have they thought the problem thoroughly, and have they thought the solution thoroughly? So the size of the challenge, and then the team that's working on it. Those are really the two things, and everything else to me kind of flows from there. If you have a good team and if you have a good problem, then if you manage to solve it, you're good to go in a very simplified way.
Awesome, awesome. I love that. Good team, good problem, and you've really outlined what you are solving for, and is it worthwhile actually. In that way, there is a market opportunity basically to pursue. Thank you very much for outlining that. And any tips really, if you can just maybe give 2 tips to the young developers in terms of engaging with the judges. What will be those the tip that you can give to them?
I mean, I think most of the judges are probably mentors as well. So I think getting as much feedback over the weekend, and especially I think tomorrow morning when we have the kind of the first round of judging, to really do your best, obviously, already at that stage to pitch the idea, and then take the suggestions or the comments from the judges at heart. It's a very typical treat in many entrepreneurs and developers and so forth, founders in general, that they are so sure that they have the best solution and the best service or app or whatever, that they are hesitant to take advice. And I think the organizers have done a good job in collecting a great number of mentors and some judges, and those people have quite a long experience in the industry. So I think one thing really, that tomorrow morning when you get your first chance to kind of showcase your solution, please keep your ears open, and then use the couple of hours that are between tomorrow morning session and the final the pitching session to make sure that you understand what they said. And the other thing is really and this is very much specific to this weekend, is that I think both Scott and myself, we talked about a general, what do we look at as an investment opportunity? That said, hackathons, if you are here to win, then it's quite important to go through the judging criteria and make sure that your presentation addresses each of those criteria. Because otherwise, either the judges will give you a 0, or the judges will ask you, oh, but did you consider this aspect? And if you then just blab and say, yeah, we thought about it and yeah, blah, blah, then it's not very convincing. So try to address, even if very shortly, all the 5 criteria that we put forward. And I think those criteria can be found on the Slack, and perhaps people can even put them here onto the screen.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Errol, for that, for the insights, also highlighting the importance, the important aspects that our participants need to take into consideration, moving forward. I'm sure that they're taking notes, and they'll ensure that as they're developing their solutions, they have the criteria in mind, because that is very important to ensure that alignment and that the tools are also used and they can leverage the mentors that we have. I love what you say about getting feedback, and because we've got people with amazing experience who are actually supporting this process. So take advice as mentees in this particular process. Thank you very much for spending your afternoon with us, and looking forward to engaging further with you throughout this hackathon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome. That was our Errol, our mentor, headline sponsor from Ioba, sharing with us his insights and some advice that we need to take into consideration throughout this weekend. And I hope that you are taking notes and making the most of this awesome time to actually hear from our esteemed judges. And our next judge is Mr. Rodney Mabokela. He actually comes from the University of Johannesburg, and his focus really is on the 4th Industrial Revolution. So he's a specialist in that particular area, and he will also be adding value as a judge around some of the key things that we need to take into consideration. And what you will see with this particular hackathon is that we are engaging not only the private sector, but we've got the public sector, we've got academia, we also have civil society actually forming part of this engagement, which is absolutely critical because it shows that we can build solutions that matter. Mr. Mabokela, how are you doing this afternoon? If you can have your video on, I think we would love to see you and to engage further with you. Our participants are super excited also to hear from you as a judge. Okay, so I want to just also remind you, colleagues, as we are busy trying to get up judges to actually join in, that the key theme that we are looking into here at TADHackZA 2021 is really emerging from the pandemic, and we're looking at collaboration and monetization towards the 4th Industrial Revolution. So the importance of collaborating, and we can see how MTN, Ioba, and all the key stakeholders are partnering together to build an ecosystem that allows solutions to be effected. So we're seeing more the emergence of these clusters or clusters of companies that work together to take us forward. And really, the important thing is collaboration, and you can see collaborations taking place in your respective team, but also thinking about how are we going to draw and make value and extract money and have money basically made out of this particular process as we move into the 4th Industrial Revolution. So I'm going to take and invite our sponsor from MTN South Africa, Alette Smith, who will be joining us live here. These are our host, and we are super excited to actually be here in the studio and being hosted by this amazing company, a truly Afri-global brand that is doing amazing things across the world. And I think we are learning awesome things basically from MTN as a company and how innovative it has been and how it supports the innovation ecosystem. Alette, how are you doing this afternoon?
Hi, Shoal. Can you just indicate you can hear me clearly?
I can hear you perfectly. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for the opportunity. And I think I first want to say that all the things I think I wanted to say was covered by Scott. So I fully, support what Scott was saying to our contestants. And I think Era also touched on some very practical advice as well. So from my end, I'm very excited. I'm going to just quickly put my face off. So MTN, we are investing a lot in graduates. So we are very, very soon going to, come out to market and tell people about our very exciting School of Data Science, which we are branding as Innovate. So as a company and organization, we are really switching gears, and we want to invest in young people. We want to uplift. I loved what Scott was saying about enabling digital skills, and that will close the economic gap. I'm very passionate about that, extremely passionate. And as a company, we are in the position that we're saying, let's take young people, let's teach them, let's show them the ropes. And as such, we can actually bring our part to the 4IR, the fourth industrial revolution. So very excited about that. So I just want to echo, the same thing that he said, is that the contestants, this is a wonderful opportunity, but it's also a platform. And make no mistake, we are out here, we're looking, we're trying to see those talented people that we can contact and find them a pathway into Innovate, and see how we can assist them. So in MTN, I look after the big data strategy for our company. And obviously we follow a very well thought out strategy against benchmark and academic material as such. But there's one thing that I just want to say to the contestants today. I'm looking for, obviously talent is you're always looking for those sharp people. But for me, collaboration is a very, very important critical component of making a success in our organization. So we're always looking for people that can collaborate and truly come together as a team. That's the only way you move forward and accelerate any kind of monetization and solution in an organization. We're really looking for people to work together. And I'm looking for developers that can actually communicate. I look for real communicators. A big issue for me today in our organization is we have very talented, clever data scientists and developers, and then they fall short because they can't sell their ware, they can't sell their idea, they can't bring people with them on the journey. So as important it is that you've got skill, you have to have the gift of the gab. You have to, convince people about your idea. The one, thing that I've seen is if you've got the ability to bring people together, and in that is also collaboration, so that they can collaborate with your idea. That is a very powerful tool. We are now in a situation where we are working offline at home. Online, but from home. And this is really our platform that we use to engage with each other. So you can see here, I'm here on a camera, I'm speaking to you, and this is the only way I can engage with my team. It's the only way I can engage with my line management. So what I'm doing on this platform is how I'm selling my technology ideas to the company. And so you should also take quite seriously that this is a skill that we have to think about carefully. Yes, and then I just want to say the last thing, before I say good luck to all the contestants. If people that know me know all that comes out of my mouth, and what I always say is South Africa, proudly South African. We've got amazing skill in this country, which we need to unlock. It's not necessary for us to always run away and go and find skill sets abroad. We've got a talented country with talent, and we need to exploit that. And I'm very excited about playing a part in really unlocking that and showcasing that. So good luck and make the most of it. Thank you. Thank you, Sean.
Awesome.
Very excited.
Great stuff. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us. And we also wish you a great afternoon further. And thank you for that advice around communication. And I know that our community is taking note of that particular insight. And also the internship opportunities at MTN and many and all our other partners. So I think it's exciting. Thank you so much, colleagues. And I think this is very much inspiring to see how our private sector is actually becoming, corporate citizens, who help to solve issues that really matter in our country and beyond. And our next judge is Philip Stander, and he comes from Globy Tom, and Philip will be also sharing with us a little bit on what we need to take into consideration and what the judges will be looking at. Philip, good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you, and thanks for the opportunity to talk to you today.
Fantastic. I want to just get the pronunciation of your company right. So it's Globy Tom, or what? Is that correct?
That's exactly correct.
Oh,
the ETOM is an abbreviation for the TM Forum's ETOM business process framework, so that's where our name originates from.
Oh, fantastic. No, great stuff. And thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. So as a judge, our esteemed judges, we've just been engaging with you to just find out what are you looking at, from our participants, and some nuggets that you can share with them as they develop the app solutions.
Yes. No, I can only echo what Scott and Eero and Arlette had to say so far. I think one of the aspects that I think is very important is that we realize that we are building digital ecosystems with the solutions, and an in-depth understanding of what that ecosystem will look like in a final solution is very important. And I think at times that is neglected. Just understanding all the engaged parties in an ecosystem and seeking the win-win in that ecosystem, because ultimately the ecosystem needs to add value for everybody. I really enjoyed, I think it was Eero and Scott that spoke about digital inclusion. So obviously one of the criteria is how does it uplift the bottom of the pyramid. Globy Tom has been very involved in the early days of electronic prepaid distribution in Africa, and that to me is a beautiful example of economic inclusion, where our MPOS devices that street vendors use to sell airtime is basically lifting them out of the bottom of the pyramid with commission income from sales. That's one example. But I think that understanding of a digital ecosystem, not just the engaged parties in terms of people and businesses, but also understanding the systems that you're using. To what extent are you dependent on cloud platforms? What is the SLA that I can expect from that cloud platform that I rely on in building my digital platform or solution? And yes, I think just beyond the technical solution, I'm actually sitting in Dubai at the moment. I've just come back from Ghana. We're busy launching a platform in Ghana with a partner of ours here in Dubai. And it was amazing for me to meet with all the stakeholders that's involved in this platform, and what needs to be in place beyond just the technology solutions that we typically provide as Globy Tom. So there's actually some very nice tools out there in the marketplace where you can build your digital business canvas, basically a one-page canvas that explains what your digital ecosystem will look like. And yes, and I think very important what Eero and Scott said is understand the problem that you're trying to solve, and understand if it's worth solving. Is it really going to shift a market, create a brand new market, or are you going to find yourself in a red ocean where you're battling it out in existing competitive rivalry? So in my view, it's very important that the solutions attempts to either shift an existing market, and obviously while you're building apps, you are busy with functional innovation. But there's a wonderful book, Blue Ocean Strategy, which I love, that talks about the spectrum of functional to emotional innovation. And it's also important to understand in your innovation how you're going to change the psyche of the people engaging with your platform. Is it not just a functional innovation? Are you changing the mindsets of people engaging with the platform? So that was a mouthful from me. I hope that's given some insights. But thanks very much for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us, and also the book, the Blue Ocean Strategy. So I'm sure they're taking notes to ensure that they can really check out how they can actually empower their participant, the users, not only through just using the platform, but also changing mindsets and driving different behaviors, through the usage of these particular platforms. We thank you very much for spending time with us and look forward to engaging with you further throughout the weekend. Thank you so much. Cheers, Philip. Thank you. That was Philip, who actually was sharing with us his insights and some of the things that we need to take into consideration. We are about to go to an exciting part of the program. We're going to take a short break, and we are going to be going to the Global Mixer. As you know, this platform is part of a global community, and we'll also be hearing from the godfather of TADHackZA and Global, who will be talking to us. Alan will talk to us shortly after this break. Thank you. Welcome back. This is an amazing opportunity to do what we call the TADHackZA Global Mixer meetup session. So we get to actually interact with Alan Quayle, who is the founder of TADHack Global, and he'll be taking us through basically a high-level overview on the global perspective, what's happening globally around this particular initiative, and why in the very first place did he established or found this particular platform. Alan, if you're there, good afternoon from our end. I know it's pretty early there, in your part of the world.
It is a little bit early, Charles.
It is
absolutely. It is a little bit.
It is good. Good to have you here on the platform, and we have a team of amazing young people who've been coding throughout and who are super excited and are spending the weekend here with us. Perhaps you can just give us a little bit of just the insights into what is TADHack Global, and what is its contribution to the broader ecosystem.
Absolutely. So first of all, a big thank you to everyone in South Africa who is taking part in TADHack. It's great. I mean, it's amazing to see what's coming out of South Africa. It's a massive event. And of course, a big thank you to IOBA and to MTN for all the hard work, and also to Geek Culture, who and all the teams involved. It's amazing to see what's happening there. So let me give you a little bit of background about TADHack. So I guess I'm being called accused of being the godfather, but I got into telecoms because personally, I consider telecoms to be a critically important technology for the human race. I mean, we invented fire, and then as far as I'm concerned, after fire, next comes telecoms in the terms of its impact and importance. Let's face it, we've survived a pandemic thanks to telecoms. It enables us to be in contact with our loved ones, with our colleagues, for decades now. And then the reason I founded TADHack was because there was a change happening. Just with the growth of Web 2 and the web becoming programmable, telecoms was becoming programmable. And I wanted to create a community where anybody can get involved, that wasn't dominated by the internet monopolies of Google or Facebook, but something that came, that was more true to the grassroots of how telecoms started. I mean, you have MTN, who serves all around Africa, but you've got people in South Africa providing telecommunication services to the people of South Africa. And with TADHack, what we're trying to do is to help all these different companies and people take control of the programmable communications, that it doesn't just come from a Google or a Facebook, it can come from anybody across any country. So that's, I guess at a very high level, why I began TADHack.
Awesome. That is amazing. And I hear that this year we're celebrating 7 years of this amazing platform. And, we've just been saying to our hack community, to our developer community that, you can actually build a business out of hackathons, and perhaps maybe you can just talk to, in your experience in this past years, basically, if there've been some startups or developers who've been able to, solve or even build a business out of this.
Absolutely, and there's been many businesses that have been created. I mean, we have a little video that highlights some of the achievements. We did a hackathon in Paris. It was a cold, early winter's weekend in Paris, and there was a group of people came together, and they were, they saw value in voicemail. Now, people go sneer. It's like, it's voicemail. It's dead. We don't need it. We have messaging. We have the latest apps. But for a lot of people, I mean, it's a niche. It's not everyone. Voicemail is important to how they operate their business. It could be contractors, plumbers, electricians. They're, constantly using voicemail to run their business on. And they were looking at ways of making it more productive for those types. I seem to be stalled. I hope I'm still running there.
Yeah, but now we can hear you. Yeah. Great
okay,
stuff.
Good. Yeah, I was
Awesome.
getting a little bit worried. So Voxis was founded out of that hackathon. So there's one example, and they've merged with another company, Slash. So, there's a great story there. But it's not just businesses. One of the core themes of TADHack is look at problems you see in your home, your work, and your community life, and look at those problems and how programmable communications can help solve them. Now, we had a great hack that came out of Colombia. Now, they have a significant problem with police violence. People are dying, during protests, and there was a hack created, Denuncia, and it was anonymous sharing of information around what the police are getting up to during protests, so you could know where to avoid because there's violence taking place. And this is an example of a hack that's saving people's lives. So it's not just about creating a business, making money. It's about making a difference in your community as well. So just highlight those as two examples of the impact that TADHack has had.
Awesome. I love that it's about actually creating value across the board. And we now talk about concepts such as the triple bottom line, looking at the people, looking at what we can do for the planet, and also talking at profit or prosperity as one of the key drivers. And I thank you very much for highlighting that it's not only just one-sided, but it looks at how do we make life and make the world a better place through technology. And I would like to just hear, I know that we've got a number of cities that have become part of, the TADHack community over the years. And I want to find out, how are things actually, taking place? How is it going actually in other parts of the world?
Yep, absolutely. I believe we'll have some of the other participants, location leaders taking part. So we have in Sri Lanka another massive event, TADHack Sri Lanka. Now, they're doing some really interesting stuff this year, which we're going to try and emulate globally next year. And it's TADHack Teens. So they're working with high schools to engage teenagers into getting involved in TADHack. So their numbers are phenomenal in terms of people involved. I mean, what's really powerful, and it's very similar to what MTN has created in South Africa, is it's a countrywide innovation ecosystem, and that is powerful and has an impact on the prosperity of a country, and that's what they've created in Sri Lanka as well. So again, two very powerful examples, and we're really grateful for both TADHack South Africa and TADHack Sri Lanka. We also have other, I'm getting a little blurry there. I can see, there we go. I'm back again.
Yep.
I don't know why.
I can hear.
I can see I've got good Wi-Fi here, but something's going on. But anyway, we also have locations in UK. They've kicked off. In Berlin, they're live streaming. So if you go to the TADHack YouTube channel, you just go to TADHack.com. You can see the YouTube channel at the bottom of the page there. Just click on that and you'll see all the live streams. Of course, lots of live streams from South Africa. They're active. Of course, when we look in the Americas, they're sleeping at the moment. But we have Chicago. They'll be getting going at 10 a.m. local. So there's 7 hours difference to South Africa. I'll be, after this call, going over to Orlando Valencia College, which is a great university, amazing computer science department there, and we'll be running TADHack Orlando there. And we also have down in Colombia, Cluster Creatic, a great incubator based out of Popayán in Colombia, and they've been part of TADHack for quite a few years now. They'll be kicking off at around 10 local time as well. Plus, and we've had this since the start of TADHack in 2014, you can take part remotely. So it doesn't matter where you're based, you can take part. And we've got many remote hackers because it's hard to be in a physical location. Plus, the great thing is that during a pandemic, some people are still nervous about, even if they're vaccinated, of getting together in a single location. So again, that's the great thing with remote entry. Even if you're in Orlando, you're nervous about taking part face to face, you can still take part. And we've got people around the world. I mean, from Russia to several different countries actually in Latin America. We had one of our first hacks submitted last night. This is more a showcase. Their pitch is too long, so they're not going to get judged. But it is really interesting use of the Telnex, one of the global sponsors, technologies. So it's nice to already see results coming in. But that was several different countries involved in that hack. So again, as we say, TADHack is global, and you can take part from the comfort of your own home.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And just one, maybe you can leave them with some parting words. I know that they're busy now coding and busy trying to get their solutions going. Just one last advice to them as they finalize their solutions.
Absolutely, mash up the sponsors. Increases your chances of winning. I say it every year. Mash them up, both the local sponsors and the global sponsors.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Alan, for spending time with us and really, also starting this initiative, because I think it's a phenomenal initiative and a great contribution to the broader ecosystem. Keep up the good work, and we look forward to engaging with you further throughout this weekend. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Colleagues, we heard from Alan, the godfather of TADHack Global. He established this particular platform 7 years ago, and he's been sharing some insights and highlights of where this platform is and how many people have formed part of this particular initiative, and some startups that were actually established as a result of this great initiative. Solutions that are public facing, community facing as well, that have been developed through this particular initiative. Now we move to Europe, to actually the UK, the United Kingdom. And in the United Kingdom, we are going to be joined by Rob, who is going to share with us a little bit on what's happening in the UK. Rob leads the TADHack UK, and Rob is joining us live right now. Rob, how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm good. So the UK is interesting this year. We had to take a decision because of venues and situation to be an entirely virtual event this year. We've got a small group of hackers in the UK that over the years have produced sort of stellar numbers of hacks for TADHack. So probably the exact inverse of Sri Lanka and South Africa, and that we don't have huge numbers this year, but we do have quite a lot of sort of experienced folks. So would be interesting to sort of see the synergies between the locations, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the folks in London produce this year.
Awesome, awesome, awesome stuff. And perhaps as a leader for the UK and really doing amazing things in the United Kingdom, you could just inform us a little bit about what inspired you to actually form part of this broader community.
Okay. Well, my story with TADHack goes back really very, very near to the start. So I wasn't at that first Paris hackathon, but I was at the first TADHack Global in Madrid in 2014 as a contestant. Where I took a team of the company I was leading, working for at the time. We developed a hack called RTC Emergency that won the coveted Google Prize that year. So for folks that are newer to TADHack, in 2014, Google were one of the global sponsors because they just invented or just released WebRTC on the world. And I took a team and we produced a hack called RTC Emergency that was around doing video streams and location information using WebRTC from casualty scenes to ambulances. Now that tech then got developed through the company. So what we effectively used that to proof point some technology that got used not in the actual application space of emergency services comms, but in the space of WebRTC for phone calls. That was a company called IP Cortex, and I grew that company for a number of years and exited in 2019, having built up a serious company off the back of some of the tech that was developed in TADHack 2014. So I get involved in TADHack most years now just to put something back into the TADHack community.
Awesome stuff. And we're excited to connect and also to facilitate opportunities for our community of developers to connect as well. I think it's lovely to have that cross-pollination of participants and also of platforms. And thank you very much for the good work that you're doing in the UK. And we look forward to engaging with you further throughout this weekend. And all the best to all the teams. And maybe before we say goodbye, just one last advice to the team. Just one quick advice to the teams that are developing their solutions.
Yeah, it's really about getting the best out of every member of your team. So look at what you can all contribute. There's a massive sphere of contribution to a successful hack. There's putting the hack together itself. There's explaining the hack. Put some concentration into those presentations, and make sure that every team member is kind of 100% occupied and engaged in not only producing fantastic hacks, but explaining them in the best way that you can in the presentations that you're putting together.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us, and I wish you a great day further. Thank you.
Same to you. Thank you.
Awesome. And ladies and gentlemen, that was actually our lead in the UK, just sharing with us what they do in that side, and also how he got involved basically with this amazing community. And now we cross over to the Deutschland. We go to Germany. And understand that in Germany, we'll be joined by our lead in Germany is Sebastian. Sebastian, guten Tag.
Guten Tag, hey, from Germany. Can you hear us well?
Yes, we can. Wie geht's?
Perfect. Very good.
Wonderful. Let me maybe give you an opportunity to introduce yourself and your colleague who is joining us from Deutschland.
Yeah, so we're here at the premises of Hubraum. We have actually 4 people that are, or 4 companies that are supporting the on-site location. This is Hubraum and Deutsche Telekom, where I'm working for. And on my left side, we have Martin, who is representing the other 2 sponsors of the location.
Fantastic. How are you, Martin?
I'm fine, thanks. Saturday morning.
Awesome stuff. Maybe you can just give us some highlights of how you got involved with this amazing community and what's actually happening in Germany at the moment.
Yeah, so a bit like with Rob, I started a couple of years ago attending TAD Summit and then participating on TADHack in the UK. Since a couple of years. We are organizing together with a couple of companies from Berlin. The location here, as in the previous years, it's a hybrid location. So we have some remote participants and we have some people that are here on site. So it's actually pretty good. A handful of people gathered here in the premises, and we did a brainstorming in the morning. And now some teams formed and are already working, let's say, on their ideas.
Fantastic, fantastic. Martin, maybe you can also just add your word on basically what you've been observing in terms of engagement. How are the techies engaging basically with this year's TADHack there in Germany?
Yeah, first of all, we are happy to be on site as well. So it's not like Rob said, purely remote. So we're enjoying being with some people on site, because discussing use cases and what could be done, it's much easier, right? In the local community to the topic. So I'm happy to be here in the rooms of Hubrom. And yeah, so we actually looked into some slow start in the morning. And now actually everyone went into work already, what Sebastian mentioned. So quite nice, to be honest. And looking forward to the outcome.
Fantastic, fantastic. And maybe any parting words to our community of developers here in South Africa from you, Sebastian, and then Martin, maybe you can also talk about what we can do to foster this North-South partnership, where we can actually ensure that we can connect our hubs more effectively moving forward.
Yeah, so from my view, we have a good set of sponsors this year. Five sponsors that are doing different things, but also some things that connects them. And I think, especially for meshing them up, there's a lot of potential this year. A lot of features that are focused around communications. A lot of possibilities to integrate the sponsors technically, but also to have use cases that use a couple of them for doing different things. So I really think any participant, has a good technology portfolio at hand, and of course also a good chance of winning some prizes, getting more than one sponsor involved in their hack in the end.
Awesome. And Martin, maybe let's talk about that global North-South partnership, facilitating linkages between our startup communities, yeah?
Yeah, Sebastian already said everything I wanted to say. But it's actually what is, especially between Berlin and South Africa, right? It's the same time zone, so we can actually, it's easy to communicate. We have the same times, no difference here. And actually what I find interesting this year is that there are quite a lot of potential synergies between the sponsors. So if you guys want to focus on simple but overarching solutions between different providers that are sponsors, that would be quite interesting to see and watch the outcome of what could be done, like overarching the different sponsor solutions. So this is what we discussed in the morning. So maybe I can hand over that option to everyone on your side.
Awesome. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for a great, for connecting with us, and also for the work that you're doing in that part of the world, and also forming part of this amazing community. I believe great solutions will emerge, and we are super excited to see basically the final solutions coming from different countries. Thank you very much, and I think we'll say auf Wiedersehen.
Wiedersehen. Ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao. Colleagues, I hope you are having as much fun as I'm having here in studio, connecting with people from different parts of the world. It's been really, really awesome. I see that we have one of our judges actually who is going to be joining us. This is Pierre Schoenrath, who's a judge from the CSPI, basically, which is basically our center here for innovation in the public sector, looking into, so it's the CPSI to correct it. Pardon us there. It's a Center for Public Service Innovation here in South Africa. And Mr. Pierre is joining us live right now from here in South Africa, I understand. How are you doing, sir?
Good afternoon. Yes, I dropped in to eavesdrop. I'm doing very well. Didn't go that well with the sport this morning, so a little bit devastated. But yeah. Let's not continue on that. Very excited about what's happening over the weekend and looking forward to tomorrow.
Great stuff, great stuff. Let me just maybe on a lighter note, just check how you celebrated your Heritage Day yesterday.
Don't ask. I was extremely lazy, so I did a fast food celebration. No chisenyama or braai or anything, but I'll catch up today.
Fantastic. No worries, no worries. But we are very excited to actually have you here as one of our judges. Given that some of the solutions that will be developing, being developed by our young innovators, are public sector facing, what are some of the key considerations that they need to take into account as they develop these solutions over the weekend?
It's a tougher question than one would think, because the public sector is not one entity. It is an extremely diverse environment and decentralized, which means that decisions are taken at institutional level. So one shouldn't think about developing a solution for the public sector. One should be very specific around the sectors, around the specific challenges that you would like to face, and then design it accordingly. I think one would need to also do quite a lot of homework in terms of understanding what's already on the market, who your competitors are, and what the niche are. But some of the best advice I actually got from hackers and innovators themselves. There's nothing that replaces going, let's say you're developing a solution for health. There's nothing replacing going to your grandmother and interviewing your grandmother who has access to that service, or to go to a clinic, to go to a hospital and get to understand at the coalface what are the challenges. So those are the kind of things that you obviously can't do during a hackathon. But it is something that one can build up on after a hackathon if there's good progress with your solution. So really understanding what's happening at the coalface, what the kind of challenges that are experienced by both civil servants as well as by citizens. The other issue that I perhaps would like to highlight is when we look at public services, we only think about the citizen. But we're not always thinking about the civil servant that's rendering the service. And it's as important to change their environment and their experience because those would be your implementing partners and they need to see the benefit of your solution. Let me pause there.
Awesome. You're highlighting very important issue of who actually is going to use the solution, who's going to be actually, and how do you bring them on board to actually become partners in getting the solution to the ground. And I think that's a very important issue that you're highlighting. So as a judge, perhaps you can just outline just two things that you think you'll be looking out for, in the solutions that are coming from this particular hackathon.
Well, I would definitely look at how you match the solution to a very specific challenge or a cluster of challenges. What kind of impact do you want to achieve? That would be important. And then is your solution in line with the policy direction of a specific department? If it's not necessarily a bad thing. Then I will be looking at the ability of the solution to disrupt what may not be a quality service or a service that we're not satisfied with. So I would be looking at the potential impact, and then how one would be able to bring this within a broader policy space. Sometimes there are barriers in place, and then I would look at how do you overcome the barriers, or what's the potential at least for overcoming the barriers. Yeah, those would be some of the key issues that one would like to look at. Obviously, we've got a scoring criteria, which I'm not going to reveal now. I'll keep that amongst the judges, and we will use that criteria to look at the solutions, so that we have an objective view of what is happening and what's not happening.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for those insights. And I think our developer community, they're taking notes to ensure that they can align very well to what you are looking at or looking for as judges. Thank you for spending this time with us, and looking forward to engaging further with you during this weekend. And also, please do catch up on that Heritage Weekend activities.
I'm going to do so after this session.
Awesome. Thank you so much, sir.
All the best to the teams. All the best to the teams. Looking forward
you so
to see
much.
Thanks.
Great stuff. Cheers. Cheers. Thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, we have just been hearing from our judges, and we heard from our colleagues from across the world who are running the same hackathons in their cities. It's really exciting to see the level of engagement across the board. And I want to take this moment to thank our judges, for availing themselves this morning and having their breakfast here with us at TADHackZA 2021, and to our sponsors as well, who've been really instrumental in bringing this all together: MTN, Ayoba, and other sponsors who I will mention throughout this session, throughout the day. Thank you very much to all of them. I won't be able to mention them now because time is not really on our side. But join us at 6 p.m. tonight as we host 5 local devs who will be helping us with code issues. The code blues. I know you are going through some of them right now. So we'll have this code blues session, which are code clinics, with some of the leading minds in our country who will help you to solve some of those issues. Until we meet again later on at 6 p.m., looking forward to that. Remember to hashtag, to share your spaces on social media using our hashtag TADHackZA, and make sure that we do indeed Gebela Pezgwendlu, and we make everyone know that we're doing the Bozo things this weekend. Thank you very much. Until we meet again at 6 p.m. Ciao, ciao.